Greetings, everyone. I'm Christine Kidder-Graves, an executive career coach and mindset coach, and I'm doing this training to really help you with those mistakes that you're making in your job search or just in your career too, because I think the best time to do a job search is when you don't need a job. You want to be strategic, but I see too many people being reactive and not being strategic. So if you're one of those people, you're pretty satisfied with your job right now, but you don't know what you would do next, or you don't feel you've been doing a good job with your connections, you're not laying the groundwork right now, then you want to watch this short training. Okay. And I'm going to get right into it. I am traveling. I'm really busy. So this is like a bare bones training. I don't have my nice PowerPoint that I typically like to have. So I'm just going to be sharing my Google Notes with you so you can see them. Okay. So anyway, so here we go. And these are the mistakes. These are the mistakes that I see. Okay. So anyway, number one, you need to be clear on your brand. If you're not clear on your brand, then why would anyone want to hire you? And if you're not clear on your brand, how can you speak to it? So you have to be clear on your brand. And I do a limited amount of complimentary LinkedIn audits and career strategy sessions because people do pay me for these, but I also like to do some on a complimentary basis for like new first degree connections. Okay. But I offer a limited number of those every week. Okay. And if you and I haven't done that yet, I think that we should do that. But I also, people do pay me to do that as well, because you want to be clear on your brand. And if you do that with me, I'm going to ask you the question of how do you rate your clarity in your brand on a scale from 1 to 10? If you're not a 9 or a 10 in your clarity for that, then we've got a problem. And then the other question I'd ask you is, how do you rate your clarity in your next position on a scale from 1 to 10? And again, if that's not a 9 or a 10, you've got a problem. And think of your brand as the arrow and that next role that you want to be in as the target. If you can't see the arrow or you can't see the target, they're not going to connect. You're not going to be able to connect them. And if you're unclear about both of them, then we've got major issues. So this is number one. You have to be clear on your brand. And when you're not clear on your brand, I see people doing this second mistake, which is updating their resume 20 times, 50 times, or their LinkedIn profile too many times. I mean, you want to keep them updated as you go through your job search process, but doing major updates, doing major changes, it's like you are not going in a clear path and you're just kind of going in circles, and it's very frustrating. It also zaps your energy, and it zaps your confidence too. So this is why being clear on your brand is so important. So again, if you haven't done one of those LinkedIn audit career strategy sessions with me, then number one, send me a connection request so we can connect. And I specialize in working with marketing and sales executives. Okay. But again, the time to be doing this is not when you need a job. Okay. But if you wait to do this when you need a job, excuse me, you are too late. So be strategic, be proactive. For all those of you who are happy in your role, you want to do that career strategy with me. All right. And then you just go to my profile and you can easily book that. So, but anyway, all right. Next thing is not being focused. So this again goes back to not being clear on your brand and how you want to use your brand. If you're not clear, if you're not focused, then you're going to be applying to everything under the sun, and that zaps your energy. And we need to conserve your energy because you are selling yourself, all right? And you are the product. So you need to take care of your product, and and that's not a good way to take care of your product, by applying to everything under the sun. Now, I know there's many of you out there who your full-time job right now is your job search, but you still need to be focused. That's one of the constant things. If you talk with anyone who's landed, ask them why they were successful, And many of those people will tell you because they were focused in their job search. They weren't applying to everything under the sun. All right. The next one on my list here is applying to online roles. This is definitely a waste of time. It's probably one of the biggest waste of time when you're doing a job search. However, if you do apply online, if you think you can be if you're applying in the first hour that posting is open, then I think that could be something that works, because I have had clients, CMOs, who have applied for a posting they really liked, and they applied to it in the first hour that it was live. Okay. Or another thing is, if you feel you can be one of the first 10 candidates, that would be a great thing too. Okay. You always want to work to get a referral at the company, or someone who is a strong connection of the hiring manager. So a referral at the company, I'm talking about an employee who works there, okay, who can recommend you, who can go to bat for you. And what's even better though is if you can have an introduction from someone who is a strong connection to the hiring manager. Like, put yourself in the hiring manager's shoes. If one of your connections that you trust really, really, recommends someone to you, and is like, I mean, wouldn't you rather interview that candidate versus a stranger who's applied to a job posting? Yeah, I know I would. It would make it so much easier in finding the right person. So that is important too. And I want you to focus on that as well. Okay. The next thing is with our connection work, and I call it connection work versus networking. Okay. Because connection, I feel, is a better description of it. Okay. So I see people wasting their time when they're not going directly to the hiring managers. You want to do everything you can to find out who the hiring manager is for that position. And I know sometimes it is hard to find out who the hiring manager is, but do everything you can, because that's who you want to ultimately connect with. And sometimes we can get caught off track or get busy by making all these other connections, but you really want to be as focused as you can on the decision makers. Who are the people that can hire you for the role that you're looking at? And I did a post on this, but I'm just going to mention it quickly to help you. Evaluate your current connections in LinkedIn. All you have to do is go to your network, and then you can do a search in your network. You have to click on the filters, and you have to go to the title, but you want to do this for your first degree connections. And for the jobs that you are targeting, like if I'm a CMO, typically I would think I'd be reporting to the CEO. So look at your connections and just type in CEO to see how many of your first degree connections have that title of CEO. And right away, you'll get a view of, these are potential hiring managers for me. So, and most likely you probably have to grow that list. Do you really have enough of those people? And that way you can review those from there. But you want to be connecting with the right people. Also, to evaluate your connections, because let's say you are a CMO. Do you have the right connections that you need? And do you have diversity in your connections? Do you have so many marketing people? It's good to have people from other functions too, like HR. That's where I come from. So making sure that you're connecting with people in HR. What about finance? Having CFOs in your network is really good, because often I feel like CMOs and CFOs can be like butting heads. But if you have some CFOs in your corner, that would be huge. CIOs, CTOs, other people in the C-suite. But really trying to have diversity of functions. So you're not reinventing the wheel, but really having those good connections. Okay. So the diversity, having people from different functions. Also, too, pay attention to generations as well. I think it's good. In the workforce, we need diversity in generations, right? I firmly believe Like diversity in every way really helps an organization to have a strong bottom line. Okay. And we want diversity. It's huge, but not just diversity in demographics, but what about age groups, generations? Okay. So even look at your connections for, like, do you have too many people your own age? It's really good to have diversity and like try to connect with younger generations, older generations, really try to push outside of your comfort zone. We tend to be really comfortable with people who are like us, but I want you to go outside of that and really, reach new people. Okay. That's important. Okay. So diversity, I should type that in here too, just as a, be diverse, because diversity is not just something for employers to pursue. We need to pursue it too. And when we take that approach, I think we're really helping ourselves a lot, and we're helping others as well. Getting advice from people who haven't gone before you. There's going to be so many friends and relatives, people that aren't trying to accomplish but what you're trying to accomplish, yet they're not going to hesitate to give you advice. Okay. There will also be people, unfortunately, you may have a spouse or partner, a loved one, somebody who you're close to, but they're not your cheerleader. They're not, in fact, they could be the opposite. All right. You really want to help yourself as much as possible. Make sure that you have at least one cheerleader, someone who can be in your corner, who can be objective, but also who supports you and who believes in you. That's really important. And you want to get advice from people who have taken the path that you are taking right now. Talk with those people, find out how they did it, get advice from them. That's really important. Okay. So, and look at the journey, look at the path that they took. Maybe it's a path that you can emulate as well, but you definitely want to work on that. All right. And then not asking for help and trying to do it all alone. Yeah. And I've posted about this before, the DIY approach. And yeah, I think DIY is good for certain things. Like maybe you have some home projects that you've taken the DIY approach and you really enjoyed that. And great, that's good for you. But do you really want to do that when it comes to your career, your livelihood, the way you spend a huge part of your life? No, you shouldn't do the DIY approach. And I see a lot of people isolating themselves, and doing a job search can be isolating. It can be extremely isolating, and you don't want to be isolated. This is the time more than any other time where you need to ask other people for help. A great book that I'd like to recommend to you is Never Search Alone by Phil Terry. And I also would recommend, when you read that book, he recommends that you join a job search council. And a job search council is free. There's no cost involved, but you definitely have to put the time. It's not a magic bullet. So there is a time commitment in there. And in the book too, Phil asks you to take the leadership role and to create the job search council. So ideally, if you can do that, that will help you tremendously. But if you don't have the bandwidth, then you can still join a job search council. Okay. But regardless, you shouldn't be doing it all alone. You need help, and you need information on the market. As a human being, you have blind spots that you shouldn't expect yourself to see. So how are you going to deal with those blind spots? You're going to talk with your connections and your existing connections, and you're also going to work to make new connections. That's really important. Okay. That is very important. So I want you to replace the do it yourself approach with the do it with others approach. Who else can you go on this job search journey with? Other people that are experiencing similar things to you, and you want to help each other out and really, support each other. That's important. And then also too, you want to be connecting with those people who are boosters. Another great book is The 2-Hour Job Search by Steve Dalton. And he talks about the different types of people that you will connect with. And boosters are the best people to connect with. And boosters can be total strangers too, who want to help you in any way they possibly can. If you want to find those strangers easily on LinkedIn who will help you, look for the LION designation. And LION is spelled LION, and it stands for LinkedIn Open Networker. Okay. And there are groups on LinkedIn that are for lions. All right. So you want to do that. That will help you. Okay. I'm going to stop my screen share here and just do a quick recap for you because I'm watching the time and want to make sure that I do this recap to help you. Okay. And then, so I did speak to why you have to replace the DIY approach with the DW, do it with other approach. On pre-work, I wanted to just touch upon that. In my information on this training, I talk about why pre-work must be done even before updating your resume. Okay. And pre-work, what I define as the pre-work is being clear on your brand. So you're dead in the water in your job search. If you start it, if you go to update your resume and your LinkedIn profile and you're not clear on your brand and you're not clear on how you want to use it. Okay. So you have to, that is the pre-work that you have to do to start your job search in order to launch it. That has to be done. And I do speak to that, if you do a LinkedIn audit with me, a LinkedIn audit career strategy call. So we definitely cover that. And, how to easily kickstart your lagging job search or connection activity now. Really the best way I feel you can do that. Well, I know the best way that I can help you without you being one of my clients is by doing that LinkedIn audit career strategy, because there's so many LinkedIn profiles that I'm still seeing out there that need a huge makeover, that are really bad. Okay. And think about it this way. If you don't have people easily finding you, if you don't have relevant opportunities easily finding you on LinkedIn, your LinkedIn profile is not working for you and it needs to be fixed. When it's optimized and when relevant opportunities are easily able to find you, then that makes your job search super easy. It makes it streamlined. It reduces your stress, and it really helps you to easily connect with those opportunities. So again, if relevant opportunities are not finding you on LinkedIn, then that needs to be changed. Your LinkedIn profile definitely needs to be updated. Okay. In the last minute and a half here, again, just to kind of summarize, don't avoid these mistakes. So don't be confused on your brand and how you want to use it. Okay. Have clarity on your brand and how you want to use it. On a 1 to 10 scale, you should be rating it a 9 or 10. Don't be applying to everything under the sun. Don't be updating your resume and LinkedIn profile 20 plus times. That's too much. You can keep them updated, but don't be doing all these full revisions. Okay. Applying to online jobs is basically a waste of time unless you do it in the first hour or you're one of the first 10 candidates. Another thing that helps is when you have a strong referral in or connection, a connection of the hiring manager can introduce you. Also too, another time waster is trying to connect with so many people and not being focused on connecting with hiring managers. With all your connection and networking activity, you have to be focused on connecting with the hiring manager. That is crucial. That's a non-negotiable. And that's why we're doing it. You want to connect with those decision makers. Do not get advice from people who haven't gone before you. And again, people are going to be coming at you with unsolicited advice, and you have to protect yourself. You have to have boundaries and say, well, thanks so much. However, I need to focus on people who have done this, and I appreciate your feedback, but I've got to follow my path. And then don't be afraid to ask for help. And again, ask for help from the people who have gone before you. But don't expect yourself to do it all by yourself. Don't do it alone. Get the help that you need. And and if you're just feeling overwhelmed after listening to this training, hop on, like, let's connect. Let's be first degree connection. Send me an invite to connect. And the benefit of us connecting, especially if you're in my wheelhouse of marketing or sales executives, then I can offer you one of those complimentary LinkedIn audit and strategy sessions, which should help. So hopefully this helps, and leave your comments, leave your questions below, and thanks for tuning in. Bye, everybody.